Hello everyone, welcome to the third tutorial in the series of Complete Guide to Java. In this tutorial, we are going to see what is constants in Java and how to use the constants in Java. So from this tutorial going forward, I'll be discussing with you some of the fundamental concepts and the fundamental types and variables those are needed to know to deep dive into Java programming. So at first I'll start explaining what is constants. In the upcoming tutorials, I'll explain you in bit detail about like what is access specifier, what is serializations, like those concepts. So as the name a word constant means the situations of a particular thing won't change. Same way in programming, constant is nothing but a value of a variable or a value of certain thing which is not going to change in programming language. Say for example, if you are declaring a variable, like say for example it is a fruit and it is equal to apple, and if you are trying to change that constant value to some other value instead of fruit is equal to apple and later you are going to change fruit is equal to orange, the variable fruit, right, which holds the value apple, that is not going to change despite you change it to orange. So this is an example for it. So in the later tutorial, I'm also going to show you like how to declare in Java, like how to declare a constants and how what is the use of it like that. So in Java, you can declare a constant by using a keyword called final. So when you're declaring a variable as a final or an object as a final, this value is not going to change anywhere in the programming. And it's a good practice to have a static keyword added in final so that whenever you are initiating a new objects, if you declare it as a static, it would have only one copy of it and each and every time it won't create a value constant. It would be too theoretical. So I'll be getting into Eclipse and explaining you in bit practical. So at first what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new package and I'm just going to name it as tutorial 3. In this new package, I'm going to create a new class and I'm going to call it as constant Java. And I'm also going to have a public static void main so that my programming is self-dependent. So it doesn't have to wait for a server or servlet. So inside this constant, I'm going to write a code system.out.println. System.out.println is the command to execute the line so that it shows in the console, as I mentioned in the previous tutorial. So if you are writing some hello world program like this, it is going to execute for you. So let me write hello world and save it, and I'm going to run it to show you guys how it is getting printed in the console. So run as Java applications and you will see hello world in the console. So in this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a constant value. So how you will create a constant in Java is by using a keyword final, and I'm going to mention it as fruit, and I'm also going to mention it as what it is, apple. And before this fruit, I also have to mention what type of variable it is. Over here, I have mentioned it as a string. String is one, like object is a class, and this class, what it does is it stores a variable. So we'll talk in detail about a string later, but as of now, just take in mind string is a kind of a data type, but it is written as a class. It is not a primitive data type. So primitive data type is nothing but int and other things, integer, float and other things, which I'll cover in the future tutorial. So right now, just take into consideration it is declaring some data type like that. So right now I have mentioned fruit as an apple. So when I am executing this particular command, what I am going to do is I am going to mention fruit as this. Whichever the value that is present, I'm going to mention it over here. And you also have to have a static keyword. The reason why it is explaining the static keyword is if you declare any value as a final, when you're creating an object for this, at that time, each and every time, as mentioned before in the PPT, each and every time this particular variable would be created. So which is expensive. So rather than that, we use a static as a keyword. So this keyword, what it does is it makes sure that one copy is available for this particular variable throughout the program anywhere else. So if you are getting into this particular class and you're creating a constant object over here, and this constant object would have access to the variable called as fruit inside this employee.java class. So if you mention it as a static, it is nothing but having only one copy of this variable fruit. So each and every time when this object is created on a class, it automatically give you the access for this variable. So as of now, take into mind it have to have a keyword called static after final. So what I am going to do is over here, I am also going to change it as fruit equal to, say for example, I'm going to mention like this, orange. So in Java, you should have a double quotes and not a single quote. If you are writing some SQL or something like that, at that time, single quote will be in use. So once I have assigned a value orange to this fruit, which is nothing but the constant, automatically a compiler time exceptions would thrown. It is saying that final field is a constant and this value cannot be assigned. So how to declare a constant is by using final static keyword. So this is what I want to explain about constant in Java. So in the upcoming tutorials, I'll come up with some other different topic. Thanks and have a nice day ahead.